It's one thing to get called out by newspapers, but it's a whole different story to get turned down in public by Sir David Attenborough. That's what just happened to Prince Harry, and it's got everyone talking and Buckingham Palace trying to fix the mess. It all started with something that could have been a simple, quiet fix, an email behind closed doors. But now it's turned into a big, messy drama that's got everyone watching Harry's actions and talking about his reputation. Here's how it went down. Meghan Markle's team was promoting her podcast called Confessions of a Female Founder. In their fancy ads, they mentioned Sir David Attenborough. Yup, the same 99-year-old guy who narrates nature shows with a voice so calm, it could make you feel super relaxed. But here's the thing, he didn't know his name was being used. Even worse, the ads made it sound like he supported or was inspired by Meghan's project. Normally, someone like Attenborough might just ignore it, but not this time. Not when his name was used for something he wasn't part of. People close to him say his team sent a polite but firm message asking for his name to be taken out of all the ads. That was it. Simple, polite, just how you'd expect a guy like Sir David to handle things. But Prince Harry didn't take it so well. Instead of saying sorry quietly or letting it go, Harry reportedly got super mad behind the scenes. Sources say he went into a total meltdown, getting angry, defensive, and even a bit aggressive. They say he told Attenborough's team, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth." Sounds familiar, right? That line, full of attitude and ego, turned a small correction into a huge public drama. And let's be real, this wasn't just a bad moment. It was a really bad look. We're talking about a prince, someone who used to stand for kindness, service, and strength, now yelling at a 99-year-old guy who loves the environment. This is a man who's never been into drama or celebrity gossip, and who was just trying to stay out of someone else's publicity stunt. For a lot of people, this wasn't just a warning sign, it was a whole parade of them. People who used to support Harry, who felt bad for him when he left royal life, are now wondering, who is this guy now? The same guy who walked bravely behind Princess Diana's coffin, who talked openly about mental health, who everyone thought was the people's prince. He's not showing up in this story. Instead, we see someone who gets mad instead of thinking clearly, someone so caught up in his fame and defensiveness that even a small pushback makes him lose it. And sadly for Harry, this time, the pushback came from a man everyone respects, someone who stands for truth, science, and doing the right thing. When it's Sir David Attenborough versus Prince Harry, in what people think, let's just say Harry's not winning. What could have been a small, forgotten mistake is now a huge drama. It's not just about Meghan's podcast anymore, it's about who Harry is, how much people trust him, and how one angry sentence can change everything. Sir David Attenborough didn't need to say much, just a simple, "I didn't say you could use my name." That was enough because when someone like him speaks, even quietly, it's a big deal. Suddenly, nobody was talking about Meghan's podcast. They were talking about Harry's temper. What made it worse was who Sir David is. He's not just some random TV star. This is a guy who spent his whole life teaching people about the planet, always sticking to facts, never getting caught up in drama, so when someone like him sets a boundary, people pay attention. And when that boundary gets a threat from a prince, people get upset. Public opinion changed fast. Twitter, news shows, and online chats blew up. The line, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth," became a joke in tons of memes overnight. But behind the jokes, something bigger was happening. For the first time in a while, people weren't sticking up for Harry, they were questioning him. And the questions weren't small. Why would someone who says he cares about privacy respond with a threat instead of a thank you? Why would a guy who talks about mental health lose it over a polite correction? Why yell at a beloved old man instead of fixing a simple ad mistake? For a lot of people, this wasn't just a big reaction. It felt like a peek into something worse, like a pattern. A prince who can't handle being told he's wrong, who gets mad instead of taking responsibility, who acts like he's better than others. That's what changed how people were talking about him. Harry's reaction didn't look protective. It looked weak, like he couldn't handle things. People didn't see a husband standing up for his wife. They saw a celebrity who's losing his cool and how people see him. Then the criticism piled on. People started pointing out other times in recent years when Harry or Meghan got mad, blamed others, or made drama where it wasn't needed. From leaving the royal family to their Netflix show, from their Spotify problems to broken business deals, people started seeing a pattern. This latest thing with Sir David Attenborough, of all people, felt like just another part of a bigger story of mistakes. Inside royal circles, people weren't happy either. Even though Harry's not a working royal anymore, what he does still affects the royal family. People from Buckingham Palace said this was super embarrassing. Not just because of the threat, but because it involves someone the royal family has always liked. King Charles especially has talked a lot about how much he admires Attenborough. They both care about the environment and have worked together for years. So for Harry to mess up that friendship, it didn't go over well. Then other big names started talking. British politicians, TV hosts, even people who used to support Harry and Meghan spoke up. Eleanor Harmon, a politician, said Harry's threat was embarrassing for British values. TV people called it rude, clueless, and the last straw. Even in America, where Harry and Meghan usually get more support, people's views were changing. American commentators started doubting if the couple was honest. The perfect image they had was falling apart, and instead, people saw something less real, more planned, less truthful. What made this drama hit harder than usual was that it didn't come from media gossip or royal leaks. It was a simple, clear moment. One side asked for respect, the other answered with a threat. In people's minds, that difference was obvious. The impact of Harry's outburst didn't go away after a few news stories. It got bigger. What could have been just a heated moment started to feel like something more, like a symbol of a bigger change in how people see Harry and the whole Sussex brand. Because when it was all said and done, it wasn't just about one sentence or a podcast ad. It was about what that moment showed. Harry and Meghan built their life after the royals on ideas like honesty, kindness, and standing up for what's right. But when a guy who stands for all those things, Sir David Attenborough, politely pushed back, Harry didn't act with kindness. He got mad, and that flipped the whole story. Suddenly, the couple who people thought were treated unfairly looked like the ones causing trouble, not because of media stories, but because of what they did. Meghan got dragged back into the spotlight too, and not in a good way. Her podcast, which started this whole thing, was already struggling. Not many people were listening, reviews weren't great, and people were getting tired of their brand. Using Attenborough's name in the ads seemed like a way to make the podcast seem more important, but it totally backfired. People started wondering how often this kind of thing had happened before. The Sussex brand is all about carefully planned messages, but now people were asking how much of it was real and how much was just for show. This wasn't just another mistake. It felt like a habit of reaching too far and acting like they deserved special treatment. And this time, people weren't letting it slide. Sir David's silence after it all said a lot. No interviews, no fighting back, just quietly going back to his work. That silence made the difference between him and Harry even clearer. One side acted with class, the other let their feelings take over. In that comparison, Harry didn't look like the mature one. Even in Hollywood, where how you look is everything, the Sussexes started to seem like trouble. Brands and partners want people who are steady, reliable, and can handle public moments well. If you can't do that with a 99-year-old nature lover, that's a big red flag. Even fans who used to stick up for Harry and Meghan started pulling back. People who always defended them now said they felt let down, even embarrassed. The charm Harry used to have was gone. Instead, people saw a guy who seemed angry, quick to react, and kind of out of touch with the real world. For the royal family, this was just another reason to keep their distance. There were no public statements or official responses, but people close to the palace made it clear this wasn't what Queen Elizabeth would have wanted. She and Attenborough were friends for years, built on respect, shared goals, and helping others. For her grandson to mess that up over an ad issue wasn't just childish, it was disrespectful. In the end, what made this moment so bad wasn't how big the mistake was, it was how big Harry's reaction was. When someone like him threatens someone like Sir David, it doesn't just affect him, it affects everything he stands for. Right now, that image is falling apart. The damage isn't just for now, it's about how people see him long term. For a couple whose success depends on what people think of them, that's the kind of damage they can't afford, especially when the person they picked a fight with is the one guy the whole country and much of the world still trust completely.